One of the things that's important to know about slavery is that it never went away. We sometimes think it stopped in the 19th century, but it didn't. There are about 27 million people in slavery around the world, and they're caught up in all kinds of harsh, ugly work. And some of that work feeds commodities and raw materials and agricultural products into the global economic system. We've got to do everything we can to make sure that that slavery doesn't reach into our lives and touch us. To the things that we buy and sell, the things that we produce, and the things that we use. This isn't a gotcha game. This isn't anybody being guilty. It's about all of us wanting to take responsibility for making sure that the things that we use and enjoy in our life are actually free of that ugly taint of slavery.
If you go to the mine, it's because you have no other way to live. If I don't work that day, we are going to starve.
I didn't know how to weave, but I was taught by beating me up repeatedly. They beat me up each time I made a mistake.
Life below the slave owners was complete hell. It was certain that they would lock us inside our house and burn us down. They almost did.
They were checking house to house, and this is when they got us. They took us to the forest with them.
Slavery penetrates into lots and lots of products. And I've seen with my own eyes slaves cutting down forests to burn them into charcoal that will then be used by the steel industry in Brazil to make steel, which is then exported to the United States and to Western Europe and made into everything from toys to skyscrapers. I've seen with my own eyes children working in farms in Africa harvesting cocoa and coffee. I've seen mines that had slave workers in them digging up gold and cassiterite and coltan that's used in cell phones. The work is just as dangerous and just as horrific as slavery has always been.
We know it's dangerous work because sometimes a big storm may come and cover the hole where you are working and kill you. I know one boy who died.
We were confined to a room and made to work for 12 hours a day. It was only once in a day that we could go and maybe use the bathroom.
My hand got cut. The owners boiled the oil, closed my eyes, and put my fingers in it.
She would take a little bit of kerosene and put it on my wound and strike a match to it. That would hurt terribly. The wound would not heal, and we were made to resume weaving again.
The slaveholder hired men armed with guns and axes, and they guarded us the entire day.
I was kept in chains. That was the most fearful part for me.
And when I came here, I earned nothing. It was a false dream. In the end, I was here working, and I was a slave.
We can't be the police, but we can be the people who say, we're not going to accept this. If suppliers and businesses in the rich North say we're not having it, we're not going to accept minerals that are touched by slavery, commodities, agricultural products that are touched by slavery, that will echo down the supply chain and make that difference. The fact of the matter is, businesses can be the heroes of anti-slavery in the 21st century. A good corporate policy on slave-free trade is going to have 3 key components. Number 1 is transparency. You're going to be able to look at that supply chain and really see what's going on and know that you're getting the full story. Number 2 is depth. It's about working your way down through suppliers of suppliers and subcontractors of subcontractors. And the third part of it is credibility. It's about knowing that the people who are checking up have the expertise to penetrate the lies and the confusion that the criminals who use slave labor are always going to use to cover up what they do. So transparency, depth, and credibility. While there is slavery in commodities and in raw materials, the amount of each raw material or commodity that is actually touched by slavery is so small that the cost of removing that slavery shouldn't actually touch the bottom line. This is the future. The passage of the law in California requires corporations to make a report on what they're doing to clean up their supply chain. We know that similar laws are being considered by other states. We know that similar laws are being considered in the US Congress. And we know that major investors are also thinking, how do we make sure that these supply chains are right before we make big investments or loan money to corporations? This is slavery, and we've got people who are suffering, and none of us wants that to happen. We can fix the problem without blasting the bottom line, and we can make the consumers a lot happier when we do so.